Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Modified Rides Podcast. Today, I have someone that has become a pretty good size artist in the industry. Also has a pretty cool truck that I actually spent this last weekend shooting down in Georgia. May have melted a little bit, may have lost a few pounds due to the heat, but made it happen. So today we have Josh Rowan. What's going on, Josh?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Still trying to recoup from the heat the other day. I don't know if it's the heat or the gnats that you Georgia boys are used to that, I guess.
We're not used to gnats, and we're not used to the heat. I have an air conditioner in my shop for a reason, so yeah, that tarmac, boy, it was warm. Ooh.
Yeah, it was 100 degrees. Shot his truck that we'll talk about in a little bit. Shot it 2 days ago, and like I said, it was 100 just air temperature, not counting the black tarmac. So
Did you step on one of them strips? They were sticky. That's how hot it was. The tar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like, good grief.
It's still not my hottest shoot I've ever done. I think Daryl Poe's shoot was probably the hottest I'd ever done in the little barn deal at the Spark Show, just because it was like 98 degrees and like 120% humidity. Like you were just sticking to yourself standing there. So you have the second hottest, where Daryl's is still the hottest at that point.
It was just Daryl. That's all.
He's old news now.
I'm not saying that. That's one of my boys, man.
I'll say it to him, and he'll call me out when he listens to this.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So let's get into who Josh Rowan is. What do you do? What's your game plan with life right now?
Currently, I've started this year with Rowan Conceptz LLC. So we started full-time drawing, shirt design, skate decks, all that stuff. It's going really, really well. So I'm really happy about that, because I used to drive a truck for a living, so I was gone all the time. So now I'm home all the time, and it's unreal, really.
I made the move a couple of years ago when I left Pepsi. Same thing. I'm home all the time. You can make your own schedule, and if something comes up, you can take care of it. So, Well, what got you into modified vehicles?
So since I can remember, my dad he built hot rods his entire life, and so when I was growing up, we'd go to World of Wheels like in Atlanta, and he'd have cover cars that he built, on CarCraft or Hot Rod Magazine, Popular Hot Rod, and all that stuff. He was real popular. Well, the builds were real popular back then. So it was just one of those things, watching my dad in the driveway, build hot rods, and the driveway was gravel and it was like this, but they always came out perfect. You know what I mean? Like, until he built a shop, and then he built the shop, and then he did it in the shop. So it was just me wanting that car that he was building. I'd just go in there and start doodling.
Did they have a shop name? Like, something he did full time?
Yeah, it changed a couple times, but everybody called him Doc. So it was Doc Rods. So it was that was in the early 90s. So he was in the big time pro street cars and like good guy stuff, real nice stuff, street rods. And so like my mom told me that I used to take my Hot Wheels and put them on the side and just trace around them and fill them in. So it's been my entire life with art and hot rods. So now I'm passing the torch on to my son, which is pretty cool, because it's not like, I'm asking him to do the hot rod thing. He's just into it 100%. So it's like, you met him. He's freaking cool, So
now with your dad, did he have you working on stuff as a kid, or did you just kind of like pick it up as you went, and next thing you knew, you were turning wrenches with him?
Well, I had kids early on, so it was like one of those things where it's always wanted to do something, always wanted to build something, right? So I could never get there. And then we got the Suburban, and it was like, I'm doing this now. So this is my only build. At 16, I had a 77 GMC pickup truck, and that thing had a 400 small block in it, but it really was just hacked up,
Yeah.
And it was unsafe, but oh my God, it was fun. Sometimes I think about doing stupid stuff in that truck, and it's so crazy, like how bolts were not tight. And you know what I mean? Just I was 16, dude. Let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go do burnouts. You know.
So you just like
So
went in a dad's shop and grabbed the tools and put it together, or?
well, I mean, it was majority of him. He really wanted me to have something cool. So I had the truck, and anytime that he would get new tires or something like that, I'd get his old tires. So it was like, that's the reason why I said the burnout thing, because I got in trouble bad. He took the truck away from me because he'd go out there every time I'd get home and check the wheel wells. And it was full of rubber, dude. Like all terrain tires, it didn't matter. Street tires, radials, dude, I was lighting them up.
So
So
I guess you got the Suburban, which what we're talking about. It's Snooki. Josh has hit several shows this year already, and debuted the Suburban Snooki. Which those watching the video aspect of this, on YouTube, you can see the features behind them. Which that was, I guess, the unfinished. It was still factory paint, or is that
no, we had built the truck twice before.
okay?
So we had a decent driver, So, but this time I started over, and this time I wanted something just ridiculous, something
When did
that.
you when did you pick up the Suburban? You said you've had it for a while.
Yeah, my dad called me in 2003, and he asked me if I could feed a 454 big block. And at the time, I was in Miami, and he was here in South Georgia. And I knew I couldn't feed that big block, but I told him, yes, sir, I can feed that big block because, oh my God, now, after all these years, I got a big block truck.
Yeah.
Now I got a hot rod of my own. And it wasn't a hot rod. You could see your feet through the back doors because of the rust. So it was rough. But yeah, I went and picked it up in 2003. So I had it, and then um, about a year later, I moved to South Georgia, and I blew the truck up, and that's when it started. So the big block was wore out. It was just on its last leg. Didn't even know how many miles it was on it or anything. So he had an Impala that was rolled over in the back, and he said, "Hey, you want to cut your truck up?" I said, "Yeah." So he put the Impala front clip under it, and and then we bought a new big block for it and all that stuff. So that's when that started in '03 and '04.
So
So
you've been tinkering on this thing since '03, '04, the whole time.
yes, up until about it was 2014, we set it to the side. I had to take care of life. So I sold the wheels, the motor, um, the interior and stuff out of it, and and I promised myself two things were either going to happen. I was going to do it or not do it. I mean, I'm the type of person, I'm 100% in or out. You know what I mean? So like, there's no like, let's get it running and drive it. And no, if we were going to do it, we're going to do it. And now you've seen the product.
Yeah.
So um, I went all out this time. So
Now you're talking about where you, I guess, struggled, and that was the Suburban wound up being your house for a little bit.
well, yeah. When I first got it, I was going through a divorce, and I didn't want to leave my kids behind. So I was in Miami, and that truck, I came and picked it up in '03, and I went back down there, and I didn't have a place to stay. So uh, there's a local park over there that had showers and stuff. So that part was great, but you thought it felt just like at the airport. It was always
Hot.
hot and muggy. So even if you took a shower, you're sweating in the shower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then one day I woke up and I was like, man, I can't do this. I can't, I'm not going to be this guy. So I came to South Georgia in it, had everything I owned. I lived in it for about 6 months until,
Oh wow.
yeah, until my brain was like, dude, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like you're young, you're strong, you can do anything you want to in life. I had my CDL, and when I was laid off from my job down there, so it was just a bunch of stuff at one time. And then shoot, I came up here and I promised myself I'd be the best dude I could be, and here we are. So
So what year was this?
that was '03.
Okay.
So that was later on in '03 because I moved here in November '03.
So I guess everybody says you got to hit that bottom to push you, but you would look at the Suburban now and you would never know that was that part of your life. You would think it was just something that, like you said, you got it and just, threw a bunch of parts and custom work to it and was done with it. But, not many people live in their show vehicles like that before they become show vehicles.
Dude, it was 55 miles an hour all the way from South Florida to South Georgia, and it took me 10 hours to get here because I 55 miles an hour because the tires had bubbles in them. It was that bad. So I had a sock full of change. That was my gas money and food money. So I was like, you know what? I got to do something. Let's do this. But I had a big block truck. So, you know what I mean? So that's all that I cared about right then and there, because, I'm a
Yeah.
man. That's what we think about, so.
So I guess once you kind of got back on your feet and all that, I guess you kind of pushed the truck to the side and kind of focused on life before you dove back into the build again.
Yeah, because I was never really satisfied with it. It was nice, but it wasn't what I wanted. I wanted something laying on the ground, fat tired, parachute, wing, big blower motor. That's what I wanted. And this was far from it. So we were going to put a blower motor in it, but I got linked up with Precision Turbo, and they helped me out. So it was like, dang, man, this is cool. Now I got a twin turbo big block, So, but yeah, it just kind of came together, man. And uh, I started redoing it back in 2019, and then 2 years ago, I don't know where everybody came from. I don't know what I did to make these people want to help me. But I threw a lot of money at this truck, and we got down on it. So in 2 years, it's where it's at now from just a shell of a body.
Yeah.
So it's still unbelievable. Like I was telling you at dinner, it's just unreal. Like I still when we were shooting it, it hit me finally that I got this truck, and it's like, oh my God, I'm standing here and you're shooting my truck, and it was unreal. But it hit me yesterday, and I made a post this morning about it because my wife, I didn't know, she took a picture of me when I was standing off to the side. I'm like,
I
oh
imagine
man,
that.
yeah. So anyway, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but you know,
Well, what made you go the direction you went with it this time? You said you'd build it a couple times, but what made you go this direction with the two tone? The interior that you did. Like, what led you that direction?
well, as an artist, I see things a little different than the normal person, I believe. So like colors, um, just colors and stripes, and like I said, I grew up around hot rods. So any hot rod I see is like, man, that's perfect. Or I would do this to it, or I'd do that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So for 15 years, dude, I'm sitting there thinking, man, this thing would look good two tone, and I didn't want the factory two tone because in the back, the factory, it tapers up to the back of the bumper. I wanted it all the way across. So that's one little detail that if you didn't notice, I had to tell you about it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, so the two tone and I knew I was going to paint it orange again, but I didn't realize that we were going to do such a pearlescent, gold with the until Tammy sent me the color, and I'm like, oh my goodness! And then she got the brightest white for me for the center. So that just came together like that, and it was pretty simple and easy. So
And which
um,
company is she with?
she's Revolt
Okay.
Auto Paint. Yeah. So we just now she posted up yesterday that we have our own color. She asked if she could use this color for her product line, and I was like, sure. And she
So
calls it Rowan.
they made the color for your truck.
Yes, last year. So I thought it was the same color as there's a couple of trucks with the same kind of color, and
Yeah, yeah.
she said, this is your color, and I said, I've seen it a bunch of times before. She goes, no, you haven't. So Robert Messenger, they sent me screenshots of the colors side by side, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see now. So it's just a real heavy pearl in it. So, and it's gold, and it's beautiful.
And what'd you say they named the paint?
It's brand new. So like, hang on a second. Let me see. It's called, um,
Because it does pop. Because looking back through the pictures where I had the strobes and stuff, like you don't see just sitting there the pearl so much, but once those strobes hit it, that truck changed two different colors.
man, dude, from what I've seen from you, man, it was like, oh man, it is wild how that color happened like that. Um, I'm sorry. It's called Rowan Orange Glow Pearl.
Nice. Never
Yeah,
thought you'd
so
have your own paint color, huh?
dude, never in my whole life.
How do you go
Never.
from living in it to having your own custom paint color in the same vehicle? Like that, to me, that story's pretty cool.
It's hard work, man, and it's a lot of sticking to your guns. You know, a lot of people, man, I would have put bigger wheels on it. I would have done that. But my whole life has been pro street stuff.
I don't think that look, your style, would have looked right if it had a set of 26s on it. It would not have looked right.
Right. I even had a guy offer me a set of 24 by 15s, and it's just, there's not enough meat for
Yeah.
me on the sidewall, you know.
That
But
engine says it needs the tires you have on the back of it.
that's right. That's exactly right. And it's all proportional. If you notice,
Yeah.
the motor's like, it's huge, but it's wide and low. So it just kind of fills out the whole.
Have you dynoed the engine before you put it in or anything?
My engine guy did, but I haven't seen papers, so I'm not
Okay.
even going to make a number. I'm not going to say anything like that until we get it tuned and running the way it's supposed to. So I can just hop in it and drive to Atlanta if I wanted to. You know.
Yeah. Well, those that that know the truck, know how crazy it sounds, when it's running. But even with it not being tuned, a little inside tip here or inside story when we shot it, I think we kind of tried to change the name from Snooki to Pooh because every time he shuts it off, being it's not tuned yet, it just goes Pooh.
Boo! You can hear them turbos go boo, and then there's just a little pop of the flames. You know. So
Yep. So yeah, it's definitely a set up right look wise. It would look weird if it had, like I said, a bigger set of wheels on it. It's just it's not built as a modern build. It's built more of that classic hot rod, but it still has that timeless look to it.
right, it's got the new school and old school hot rod feel to it, and that's what I wanted. Like I could have went with a 15 by 15 wheel, but I love that. But this truck needed a 20 on it. You know, a 20 by 16 is what we
Yeah.
have on the back. So, and
Now what engine do you have in it?
I have a 468 big block Chevy in it. So, um, I'll give you a quick story about that. Mike Losh shoots me a text and says, "Hey man, I got this twin turbo set up for a big block. You need this. It's yours." I said, "What?" He's he told me how much and all that stuff, and I was like, "I don't even have a block, man." And he's like, "You better find one because this is on its way." I was like, "Okay." The next freaking day, I found one for $500, a Virgin engine. They just took it apart because they were going to build it for a Chevelle or something, right around the corner.
Oh wow.
So it was like, holy crap! And it just started falling together right then and there. So my buddy Eric Tillman, he took that motor, and it is just like I said, I can't wait to get it tuned because my tuner told me at 70 mile an hour and the tire's gonna break loose. So yeah, that's what I want to hear, you know. So
Well, what you got a different dash in it too. You didn't do the standard Suburban dash. Was it an Impala dash in it?
yeah, it's a '59 Bel Air dash that I found in
Okay.
Jacksonville, and I got it for a great deal. I think I paid $500 for it, but it still had the original keys in it. That's how nice it was. So when I brought it home and it didn't fit, and I had to cut it in half, and I've never physically ever done that personally before, you know. So like it was a one and done thing. If I screwed it up, I mean, the only thing that kept going through my head was my dad once told me, he's like, "Don't worry about it. It's only metal. You could fix it," you know.
Yep.
So, but luckily, I just cut it in half, and it's perfect in there. So,
So you did pretty much most of the work on the truck.
well, my buddy Dustin, which you met, he's the
Yeah.
fab guy. So if I had an idea, or if he had an idea, I didn't even ask him what he was doing. Just do it. You know what I mean? Because I trust him that much. He was in my shop. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, and he had one of those soft pads down and a dead blow hammer, bah, 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 just hand rolling the tubs out.
Yeah.
So it was amazing because I had to go use the bathroom, so I walked out of the shop, and dude, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I live in the country, so you could hear it go bah, 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 bah. It's like, oh my God, the cops are gonna show up. But that dude's a maniac, man. There's things that I know, but there's everything he knows. You know what I mean? So it was a big bonus for him. He offered to come over and help me. I didn't even know him. And I thought it was going to be one of those, hey man, do this for me. This is how you do it, whatever.
Yeah.
No, man. He came in and we just let him have it. So between him, my son, and myself, we killed it. So
Who painted it for you?
my buddy Tim Gossett, he's TNA Customs up in Noonan, Georgia. I went up there for a month and lived with him for a month just to knock this thing out. So he did a really nice job. The stripes and the tape work is just
Yeah.
straight. I mean, it was.
Well, you had originally planned to debut it earlier or something, didn't you? Wasn't there a
Yeah, so we were pushing for mini nats the year before last. So,
23?
but
Yeah.
yeah, so because our 30th Extreme Lows, the 30th was there, and man, we didn't make it. So then we tried to push for Bama, which was 2 weeks after that. And we're looking back now, and we're real thankful that we didn't bring it out, because then it would have been rushed. It wouldn't have been finished. It wouldn't have had the impact it did when we went to mini nats this year.
Yeah.
So when we went to mini nats this year, people were going crazy. It it's so amazing because, like I said, with the magazine, you're looking at the magazines and you're like, oh my God, man, I wish this was me one day. You know what I mean? And when you start your truck and a crowd gathers, or you start your truck and you ease out onto the strip, man, look, I got goosebumps. You ease out on a strip, and you see people half a mile away stand up.
Well,
Hey,
you
hey,
hear
hey,
it coming.
right. And that's, to me, that is the baddest thing, man. I felt so proud. And we only had second and third gear. We didn't have reverse or first because the something happened in the transmission, brand new.
Yeah.
But it was like, nope, not today, buddy. You're gonna push this thing. So, but it was amazing seeing people get up or even lay flat on their bellies, taking shots of us rolling by.
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
Well, like I said, it was cool to go down and shoot it. I know Mike had the vision, so people's just going to have to stay tuned to what we all kind of conspired to make happen. So we'll leave it at that. But
Dude,
it will
this
be
is so hard. It's so hard, man. Like, oh my God, I want to tell everybody, but
yeah. Well,
it'll be well worth it.
I have the pictures on my computer, and they, like I said, they won't leave. The stuff I showed you before we started recording will be. You might get a sample here and there, but
Yeah.
So back onto the Rowan Conceptz thing. Did you start drawing as a kid, like young, or is it something you picked up later in life? Like, how did you know you could draw? Because I couldn't draw a circle if I traced a quarter. Like, literally, stick figures don't even look like stick figures.
It's funny you brought that up because I can draw a perfect circle every single time, and people are like, I can't even draw a line. What are you doing? And to me, it's like, why can't you do it? You know what I mean? Because I've always known how to do it. I taught myself how to draw when I was a little kid. And
what'd you start out drawing?
Hot rods. That's all I've drawn is cars.
It was always cars and stuff. It wasn't like dragons and all the stuff that,
Dude, I've had friends that were spectacular artists. Dragons, fish, freaking buildings, birds, whatever, like amazing artwork, but they couldn't draw a wheel. You know what I mean? So I was that guy in school. I was that guy. Hey, can you draw my car? So that's, I've drawn, like I said, my mom, she told me that I would take my Hot Wheels and put them on the side and trace around them, pull it up and just fill it all in when I was 5 years old.
Oh
You
wow,
know,
so that
so
early.
oh yeah, it's been. I mean, I get in trouble at school. I was so good, my art teacher was mad at me. And to me, I wasn't that good. You know what I mean? Like, because in my head, I could do better. You know, so basically, I pushed myself. You know, and I got a Facebook account in 2008, and then in 2011, I've had a pretty good following with the truck with the Snooki, and everybody was like, "Man, you need to start a page." So I started Rowan Concepts, and I was like, "Well, shoot, hey, this is part time. I need the cash for the truck." So 2011 is when we started Rowan Concepts kind of officially, you know,
What was you doing for people then? Like renderings, logos? Like what was your main focus early on?
cartoon trucks.
Okay.
So um, these days it's way different because I try to be meticulous and get every little detail in. But back then it was easier for me to draw cartoon stuff because I didn't take a lot of time on it. If I'm drawing your grill on your truck, I mean, I'm gonna get every little thing in it. But
Yeah.
with a cartoon, you can kind of bend it and do this, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just got to look cool, you
Yeah.
know. So, and that's what I was hooked on for a while, you know. And I come across a post the other day. It said my drawing started at $25, and I was like, oh my god! It took me back, you know,
Yeah.
like, dang man. And then I'll tell you what changed though. It went from mediocre to just nasty in 2015. I had a hernia, an umbilical hernia, so I had a surgery in my belly button. Well, when you get that done, you can't sit up, you can't move, you can't walk, you can't do anything for a while. I can't remember how long it was, but it was a long time. So I made a post on Facebook, and one of my first customers was Drops R Us,
Yeah.
and to me, I had made it. He hit me up, hey man, I want a drawing, I want a poster of my truck. Okay. So I drew it, man, and it was so awesome. It's all black, you know, and just shaded just right and everything. And I started coloring the bumper. I started coloring the bumper, and I was trying to make it look like it was the ground was reflecting on it, you know. But I got frustrated and it was ugly. And I left and I came back and I looked down and I said, I held it up for my wife. I said, Trish, does this look chrome to you? She goes, wow. And when she says something like that, you know, she's like, holy crap. You know, I looked at it again. I said, boom. I got chrome to the T the first shot, and I didn't even try. You know
By
what I mean?
accident.
Like,
Yeah.
by accident. And now my chrome, I can make a piece of paper look just extremely wet.
So
You know.
what? I guess if you started drawing on paper and stuff as a kid, is that still your favorite way to draw? I know the digital age has changed now, but what's your go-to method when you're doing stuff?
Well, I still do posters. I do skate decks, but I think I I'm pretty sure my favorite is drawing on the iPad because I can put lights, I can put highlights, I can make the. I mean, even though I can do it on paper, it's just more clean.
Stuff you
You know,
couldn't do with a pencil or a marker.
right. Just like with a white highlight, you cannot find a white marker or anything like that to make a solid white line. It's thin always, so you got to go over it a few times.
Yeah.
With the iPad, it's exactly what I'm doing on paper, exactly to the T on the digital thing. So, you know, like I said, I just took everything that I knew from drawing on paper to the iPad, and shoot, man, it's blowing up.
Does it transfer
Dino's.
over the same way? Like from an artist's perspective, you the feel of drawing on paper versus the outcome versus drawing on the iPad and the outcome. Is it the same for you? Do you get the same, I guess, feeling from it?
Well, I've had the iPad for 2 years now, so it's still exciting when I figure something out, you know,
Yeah.
or find a pen that does this or does that. So it's like, it's exciting to me. On the posters, it's more just time consuming sitting there, just making sure you get everything right. And when it's done, it's different. When it's done, I'm proud of it because you're not going to get anything from me like half-assed or anything. So when I'm done with it, I feel a sense of pride, and it's the same, exactly the same, except on the digital side, people are more for shirt designs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So on the posters, people like the posters more because it's more from the heart. It's a personal thing versus on online, and people just see it and it's like, oh, okay, somebody just Photoshop that or something like that, which I don't do, but they see it like that versus a piece of paper. So when you get a piece of paper that's 22 by 14 and it's like in your face, it's more personal, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, what made you decide to do the drawing full time? What clicked that you said, "All right, I'm done. This is me full time now."
So 3 years ago, I tore my rotator cuff at work.
Sounds like you're accident prone.
Hey man, you know what? I'll just call me evil, baby. But I tore my rotator cuff and my bicep tendon because I used to deliver groceries to Burger King and Golden Corral stuff. So I'd roll it out of the trailer and roll it right in the store just all day, 6, 7 days a week.
I did the
Well,
same thing at Pepsi for 22 years, so I know all
so
about hand trucks.
yep, and
Times I
roll it
wake
out of
up,
the truck.
my hand don't want to do anything because it's years of abuse.
Holy crap. Is that what it is? Because mine does that too. Mine will lock up and I'm like, what are you doing?
Because you've rolled the hand truck like this
Yeah.
for so long. Yeah. I got a
Oh,
few friends that's been doing that for a long time. Their hands are the same way.
dude, I thought I was stroking out.
Like you can't button a shirt, you can't like do
Yeah.
your belt. You're like, my hand don't want to move. Yep.
There's sometimes where I'll stand like this and my wife will be like, you all right? I'm like, I don't know, man. I can't move my arm. She's
So
like, you
anyway,
need to eat a
so
banana.
so with that surgery, is that you said that's what made you decide to
Well, I
change?
had to, yes, because I was out of work now, you know, and I've always provided. I've always busted my butt doing what I got to do to provide. And I told my wife, I said, I don't want to go back to work. I've worked my entire life since I was 15 hard. I had kids when I was young at 17, so it was like I had no choice but to work.
Yeah.
Well, being away from them all the time, it just kind of sucked driving a truck. So I was like, I don't want any of that anymore. I think we can make this work. So this year, I decided just to go ahead and get my business license and do it the legitimate way. And dude, it's the best year of my entire life so far. So, we discussed, I picked up Dino's shirt designs. I'm doing stuff for Twin States and Craig Rally for Battle in Bama. I drew all their flyers and stuff like that, and people just eat it up. And when Dino called me, I was like, "Oh crap!" He's
That's
like,
that's a big deal.
"Man, it's a big deal." And then he's locked me in for next year. So he was that happy with his design. I didn't show you, but I'll show you.
Nice.
Um, but
So
yeah.
what's your main I guess customer purchase? Is it renderings, t-shirt designs, logos?
Lately it's been t-shirt designs. I I know you've seen my tractor trailers and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, in 2016, I met up with my partner Evan Steger, and he is a polisher for show trucks and stuff like that, big semis and stuff. So that's how I started getting into the big trucks. I did a few, and that's what caught his attention. And then I drew him a poster, and he's like, "We're going to be in business a long time together." And I've heard that. I'll
Yeah.
get you exposure. This is a SEMA build. I'll do this. I'll do that. But it never ever pans out ever. You have to put that effort in to get your name out there.
Yeah.
You
Oh
can't
yeah.
depend on other people. So that's stuck in my head every time I start a new drawing. I just gotta be. It's like a rapper. I gotta be better. I gotta be a better rapper than you. You know what I mean? You have to think that way to be successful. So, I stay in my own lane, but at the same time, nobody's going to outdo me, you
Well,
know.
what is your favorite piece of artwork that you've done? Or do you even have one or one or two that's like this is my favorite one?
Brother, they just keep getting better. And I can't really tell you that. It's like telling you which kid is my favorite. You know what I mean? It's the same exact thing. So it just, the level, I just push and push and push. And I know there's a crap load of great artists out here that are just phenomenal. Like I'm like, oh my God, I'm not jealous. I'm envious. You know, I'm like, man, I want to do it like that. But
Yeah.
then I have my own style, so I just stay in my lane and just keep going. And every once in a while, I'll look over and see what they're doing, and like, dang man, I got to do this, I got to do that. And like I said, it's not about being any better than anybody else like that. It's just in my own brain. If I don't push myself, I'm just gonna flatline, and then it'll be just mediocre stuff. Oh, we've seen that already. You know,
Well, now that you're doing this full time, doing all the drawing and everything, where do you see your company in 5 years?
show shirts, um, car shows. I see us being very successful, and there's always that fear of it not working out. But man, I'm telling you, I don't know what I did to people, but the following we have is amazing. So they keep me afloat, and they people just keep coming back for more artwork, and it's just I don't see it failing at all because I'm not gonna fail. So it's on me to get it going. So Josh, he started. I bought him an iPad, and he's
Your
starting to
son.
draw logo. Yes, my son Josh, he's starting to draw, on his iPad. So hopefully I can get him started with like logos and stuff, something to where I can be like, hey, I need this, I need that, so we can work together.
Did you
You know,
teach him at all, or did he naturally take interest to it like you did?
it was a little bit of both. He watched me draw a bunch of times, and then he started drawing, and he bring it to me. I have some of his drawings in my office, man. I framed him up because he was 3 or 4 years old,
Yeah.
so it's really cool.
Now, are we going to see Snooki change anymore over the next year or so, or is it pretty much other than getting the tune and getting it running right? What's your plans with it?
You know how this game goes, man. You can't leave anything alone, right? The truck is almost perfect for me. Um, there's a few things. There's a few things we're going to sheet metal the front end. We're going to do a belly pan because it is flat under there. So I just thought since we're not running exhaust and all that stuff, it'll be perfect. And then we could put it on mirrors or
Yeah.
just that extra little that I'm not used to because I'm fine with it the way it is. But then I go to bed and I dream about stuff like the hatch.
Yeah.
Dude, it took me 10 years to even just consider for real doing a hatch on the Suburban. It's never been done before. So it's like one of those things where like, is it going to be difficult? If I cut these doors, I'm going to have to buy more doors if I mess it up. But then there again, my dad, it's only metal, man.
So
You can
those
fix it.
I just realized that. So those Suburbans, they're all barn doors in the back, right?
Well, they have a tailgate truck, which this truck was. So it's a tailgate with a roll up window in it.
Yeah, with the key in
So,
the back.
right.
Yeah.
And then they got the work truck with the barn doors, right? Well, somebody told me I couldn't put barn doors on a tailgate truck. So I was like, man, what? It's only metal. You know what I mean? Like, so I put those doors on there,
Yours was a
and
tailgate truck originally.
yes. So I was extremely excited putting those on. But then the problem was looking in the rearview mirror, the two windows, and you had that pillar in the middle. You can't see out the back.
Yeah.
You'd have to like kind of look around it and stuff. So that's driving a truck from here to Miami, just sitting there thinking, just I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So it was a very long time for that. And then I told my son, I said, come on, dude, let's go cut these doors in half. He's like, for real? I was like, Bob Grant told me if I didn't cut my truck, it wasn't custom. That's exactly what he said to me.
And
Because I
Bob knows
wanted
a
to put,
thing or two about metal.
dude, that guy's crazy with that stuff, man. He's a genius. Like the reason why he said that is because I wanted that 3-piece roll pan so the whole the body line's out of the back there, so it just kind of scoops under.
Yeah.
And I said, man, I just don't want to. I don't want to cut it, man. He's like, it ain't custom if you don't cut it. I'm like, ugh,
Don't you
man,
love peer pressure?
man, and especially from somebody like Bob. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to seem like a punk. I got to cut my truck now. Um, so we cut that and did that, and then we cut the doors in half. and I went to start welding it. I tacked it all together. Everything fit perfect. First try. That was one of those things where it's like, holy crap. Um, Chris Wilson, he gave me another Suburban door. So I used the section out of that so I could put the hatch together.
Yeah.
So I went to start welding it, and it's just boogered up. Sheet metal and me don't go good with a welder. So I called Bob. I said, man, listen, I need this hatch done. What's it going to cost me? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I sent it to him. Well, when he sent it to me and he sent it back, it's so beautiful. It looks like a factory piece.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, the bottom halves of the doors were wide open and they were all ripply where I cut them in half. I called him back and said, dude, I'm going to have to send you the bottoms too because I'm not going to try to weld this stuff. This hatch is too beautiful, and this is going to be like one of those focal points for the truck. He said, no problem, just send them. Well, he sent them back, and he reskinned them, and it is just absolutely perfect. It's weird how he can do that without even having the truck there or even like the hatch,
Yeah.
you know. He's a bad man.
Yeah, he's built some crazy stuff over the years. So.
Yeah, one of my favorites is that red one. I'm not sure if it's a 67, 68, 69, but it's a red one. It's got the Camaro like fins on it. It's just tough.
Yeah, wasn't that one of the ones that was at LST or something a few years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
it's been a while. It's an older build, but it's just that it's immaculate, man.
Well, where do people find you to get with you to see your artwork or to get you to do something for them? How do they find you online?
You can go on Instagram. It's under Rowan Conceptz. You can go to my Facebook page, Rowan Conceptz LLC, or you can just contact me on my regular social, Facebook. It's Josh Rowan. But once you put Rowan Conceptz, it's all one word with a Z at the end of it. Once you do that, it all pops up. So,
gotcha. Well, I'll definitely be keeping an eye out on some of your artwork that you've been doing. And like I said, I need to get with you about getting some t-shirt design once I burn through some of the ones I have now, and let you work your magic on that. So definitely be in touch with that to get my own stuff done. So,
heck yeah, that'd be cool, man. I have a big waiting list for anybody listening or watching this. It's a chunky one, but trust me.
Anybody that's good does, whether it's a fabricator, a builder, a designer, an artist, everybody's got a waiting list.
Yep.
Hell,
and trust me,
go to a hair salon. Most, all our wives have, the hair salons you can't get in fast either. So,
yeah. Oof. And glad we don't have to do that.
Nope.
Just go. We can just cut it all off if we wanted to, But yeah, and right now I'm in demand. It just feels, just every day I get an order. So it's like, the list, if you're going to wait 6 months to pay me or even get on the list, you're messing up because it could be a year by the time you get there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying my best to stay on top, but,
there's only so many hours in the day.
I promise you'll have something that you really wanted or better. There's nothing under that. So.
Well, I have to tell everybody, keep an eye out on the on an upcoming issue of C10 Builders Guides. There's some cool stuff in the works with that. So I guess we'll catch you at the next show, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you, man. And this weekend was awesome. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
And I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you, man. Have a good one.